Hi, good afternoon, algebra class. We're moving on to 2.5, okay, 2-5. If you haven't done 2-4, go ahead and complete that first before you start this one, okay? So let's go ahead and start. So this is your 2-5, page 30, page 31. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start on page 30. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start on this one. So it says here, make sure you have your name, date, period. Okay. So we're solving equations involving absolute value. Absolute value. Okay, this is absolute value. Okay, if you remember absolute value is the distance a number from zero. So for example, what's the absolute value of -3? The absolute value of -3 is 3 because it's three spaces from zero. The absolute value of 10 is 10 because it's 10 spaces from zero. Okay, so we'll put an example up here. So the absolute value of -3, and that's what this means, absolute value. The absolute value of -3 is 3. Okay, it's always positive because it's distance. So it's -3, it's three spaces from zero. Okay, another example is the absolute value of 10. The absolute value of 10 is 10 because it's 10 spaces from zero. You should have learned this last year. Okay, if you didn't, that's just a little bit of a refresher. So the absolute value of a number is the distance it has from zero. So in this case, the absolute value of -3 is 3 because it's three spaces from zero. The absolute value of 10 is 10 because it's 10 spaces from zero. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that. So let's go ahead and keep going. So you have absolute value expressions. So absolute value expressions with absolute values define an upper and a lower range in which a value must lie. Expressions involving absolute value can be evaluated using the given value for the variable. Okay, so let's highlight a few things for this one. So define an upper and a lower range, okay, and can be evaluated using the given value for the variable. Okay, so let's go ahead and actually practice it and see what the heck does that mean. Okay, here we go. So we have an example. So evaluate the absolute value of t minus 5 minus 7 if t equals 3. So they're telling you what t equals. T is equal to 3. So you're going to substitute 3 into the expression. So you're going to replace t with 3. So here we go. So here's the equation right here. Now, I think on your paper, guys, for some reason on your paper, it doesn't show these two lines. It shows two boxes. Go ahead and write them in there. Write these lines in there. Write this one and write this one. I don't know why I printed out like that. I'm sorry. But they should be two lines. This line and this line. That means absolute value. Okay? Make sure you do that. So t minus 5 minus 7 equals. So now they replaced it with 3. So there it is. So now t is 3 now. So 3 minus 5, okay, 3 minus 5 is -2. There it is. Okay, and they're doing it right here. 3 minus 5 is -2. So the absolute value of -2 minus 7. So you have to get rid of the absolute value first, right here. So the absolute value of -2 is 2. It's two spaces from 0. See, it says right here. So 2 minus 7 is -5. So that's our answer. So if you put it in here, so 3 minus 5 is -2. The absolute value of -2 is 2 minus 7 is -5. There's your answer. We're done. Okay? With this type of example. Let's go on to the next one. Okay, now we're actually going to solve equations involving absolute value. Solve equations involving absolute value. Before, on this one, we just evaluated. Okay, we had to just substitute. Now we're actually going to solve for it. Okay, so here, let's go ahead and do example number 1 first. Okay, let's read this first. When solving equations that involve absolute value, there are two cases to consider. Here's case number 1, and here's case number 2. Case number 1, the value inside the absolute value symbols is positive. Case number 2, the value inside the absolute value symbols is negative. Okay, so that's case 1, that's case 2. So remember, keep that in mind. Okay, and if you want to go ahead and highlight those, you can highlight, and then the other one, maybe do a different highlight. Okay, so here we go. All right, so here's example number 1. Solve for the absolute value of x plus 4 equals 1. Then graph the solution set. So this is the equation that they are giving you. This is the equation. Then you got to graph it. Okay, so we have it right here. Here's your step. So x plus 4 equals 1. Okay, so as x plus 4 equals 1 or x plus 4 equals negative 1. So you got to put in two equations. The first case is the value inside the absolute value symbol is positive. The second one is that it's negative. So you got to solve for both. So here's the first one. It equals 1. And here's the second one, where it equals negative 1. Okay? Now it's going to make a lot more sense here in a little bit, okay? Just stay with me. We have to split it in two. So it's this equation, but because it has absolute value, we have to split it up into two. So here's the first one, and here's the second one. And notice how the absolute value symbols are gone. Okay, now you solve for each. So on this one, they're going to use the subtraction property of equality. They're going to go ahead and subtract 4, subtract 4. So this is 0, x. So 1 minus 4 equals negative 3. On this one, they're going to subtract 4 from both sides too. There it is. Subtract 4 from both sides. This is 0, x. Negative 1 minus 4 equals negative 5. So we got two answers, yes? Now, the solution set is negative 5, negative 3. So there's a lower and an upper. A lower and an upper bound, okay? So the lower one is, the lowest x is going to be negative 5. The highest x is going to be negative 3. So we're going to go ahead and graph it on here. And the way we graph it is we draw our line. We already did that. And then you're going to go ahead and mark it. Since it does equal, so you're going to mark it on the dot here, negative 3, and then on the dot here, negative 5. Okay? So this equation, these two make this equation true. Okay, so let's see. Let's put our first one in. Negative 3 plus 4. Negative 3 plus 4 is 1. And what's the absolute value of 1? 1. On this one, negative 5. Negative 5 plus 4 is what? Negative 5 plus 4 is negative 1. But what's the absolute value of negative 1? 1. So that's why these two make this true. Okay, if you put 0, it doesn't make it true. If you put negative 8, it does not make it true. Hopefully that's making sense. Okay? Now let's go on to example 2. All right, so example number 2, they actually give you the graph already. So write an equation involving absolute value for the graph. So you have negative 2 and then you have 4. So find the point that is in the same distance from negative 2, that is from that as it is from 4. So in this case, right here, negative 2 is 1, 2. So find the point that is the same distance. So if you find the halfway point of these, it's going to be right here. Here's the halfway point, and it's showing you here. See how this is 3 units and this is 3 units? The distance from 1 to negative 2 is 3 units. The distance from 1 to 4 is 3 units. So therefore, x minus 1, the absolute value of x minus 1 equals 3. Do you see why they're doing that? Okay, so in this case, because it's 3 units, that's why they put it here. And it's at x minus 1 because this is the middle point. Okay, now if you want to check your answer, you could. Let's check our answer. Let's put in negative 2 in here because one of the points is negative 2. So let's put in -2 minus 1. Does that equal 3? Yes, -2 minus 1 equals -3. And then the absolute value of -3 is 3. So that is good. You want to check the next one? 4. So it's 4 minus 1. 4 minus 1 is 3. The absolute value of 3 is 3. So it does check off. So this is our right equation. Okay? Go ahead and look this over. Rewind the video if you don't understand it. I'll give you another example here shortly. All right, so we did example number 1. That was done already on your paper. So we'll mark this as example 1. And then this is example 2. I'm giving you this one. This is an extra one, okay? It should fit on your paper. Okay, so you have this one, you have this done and annotated already. So now you're doing it right here, number 2. Okay, number 2, evaluate the absolute value of m plus 6 minus 14 if m equals 4. Okay, so you got to evaluate that. Okay, so let's go ahead and do it. So we have to replace m with 4. So the absolute value, and then m is 4 plus 6 minus 14. Okay, we replaced it. So here's m. It's right there now. Okay, now what's 4 plus 6? 4 plus 6 is 10. Okay, now what's the absolute value of 10? What's the distance of 10 from 0? 10. It's up here. I gave it to you. So it's 10 minus 14. So again, your integers come in here. So what's 10 minus 14? Your answer is -4. So there's your answer. Okay? Now you're going to do problems like this today. You're going to do 2 of them like this later when I give you the assignment. All right, so now we go on down to the bottom. So on this one, the one that we did, this was example 3. This was example 4. Now we go on to example 5 where we did that one. So it's right here. So this was example 3. This was example 4. Now you're going to do this example 5. You're going to do it right here. And then I'll give you example 6 here shortly. So here's example 5. So solve the absolute value of f plus 5 equals 17. So you got to do what the cases say up here. It says the value inside the absolute value symbols is positive. So I made it positive first, so it's right here. And then case 2 is the value inside the absolute value is negative. So here it is. So this is positive and this is negative. See how it's the same one, but it got rid of the absolute value symbols? Okay, so now we solve this one and we solve this one. When you solve for this one, your answer is going to be 12. When you solve for this one, your answer is going to be -22. Okay? And then you have to graph it. So I went ahead and graphed it. I just drew a generic number line, the 0 there. So it's going to be at 12 and it's going to be at -22. So these two numbers make this true. And you can check them if you want. So put in -22 in here and you're going to get 17. You put 12 here and you're going to get 17. Okay? Now let's go on to number 6 right here. All right, so we have example 6. So you draw a number line like this, put 0 here, and then put 11. 1 point is 11, 1 point is 19. So you're going to tell me what's the equation for this one, just like we did on this one up here. So first of all, what we're going to do is find the halfway point. So the halfway point between 11 and 19 is 15. Okay, so that means this is 4 units. And this is 4 units. Okay? So this is 4 units and that's 4 units. So what you're going to do right here is you're going to go ahead and put equals 4 because that's the units. And then where does it go ahead and what's the point? It's 15. So you're going to put absolute value of x minus 15 equals 4. Okay? That's the answer. Now, if you want to check it, you can check it. Let's put 11 in here. So what's 11 minus 15? -4. But the absolute value of -4 is 4. Now, right here, 19. the absolute value of, so it's 19 minus 15. So it's 4. The absolute value of 4 is 4. So this is our equation for this number line that they gave us. Okay. And you're going to get problems like this today. All right. So for 2-5, okay, we did this whole front. You're going to go ahead and send me a picture of this that we did today together. Okay. You're gonna see where you put the slide in there. Okay. And then on your own, you're going to go ahead and do these problems right here. You're going to do number 1, number 2, number 5, 7, 9, 11, and 13. Okay, if you don't have this paper, make sure you copy these down. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in so you can see it. Okay, now on 1 and 2, they tell you what A and B and C are. Okay, we're not doing the C ones, but up here, they tell you what A and B is. Okay, they're telling you here. Okay, so it's A minus 5, the absolute value of A minus 5 minus 1. The absolute value of B plus 1 plus 8. On this one, the absolute value of W plus 1 equals 5. The absolute value of M plus 2 equals 1. And then this one, the absolute value of W minus 2 equals 2. This one, the points are right there. Negative 1, 1. The points are at 3 and 5. Okay? So that's what you're going to do today. All right, guys, let me know if you have any questions, okay? You are working with absolute value. If you don't remember what absolute value is, let me know, but I went over it up here. All right, guys.